I'm up to date on WandaVision, so there's that.
All right, let's talk about WandaVision
I was
because
wondering
I am also up to date, and I fucking love this show so much.
I was amused for the first 3 episodes, but not excited and not
Yeah,
giving a shit. Because it was charming, but everything was wearing off, and I just really didn't. It was super cool to see Darcy again.
yeah,
She makes me so happy to see her every time she's on screen. And
yeah.
then I was
And
excited to get a new
Agent what's his
character,
nuts from Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Agent Wu,
Yeah,
because those
he's
are
great.
both.
And he learned the fucking magic tricks, the card tricks.
Yeah, those are both tertiary ass characters, and it's good to see more of them. I mean, Wu is whatever. I'm more excited for Darcy, but Wu's making his place, and
Oh
I
yeah.
like that. I was very excited because I watched WandaVision before I went back and watched Captain Marvel, and then there was like boom, new character, Monica Rambeau, Sword. There's another Marvel agency that's doing space shit and going into space. I love space Marvel
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And the Sword, I've never heard of Sword. This sounds
Which
awesome.
Sword was like that's the thing. And in the post credits for it's not like connected, but the post credits for Spider-Man Far From Home is the first time that we see Sword in any way, shape, or form. Because Nick Fury is just like in space, and we're like, what the fuck is going on?
They hinted at it heavily in Captain Marvel. They knew it was coming.
Yeah,
They land, and then uh, Nick Fury's talking to the Rambo that's, the older Rambo, not Monica. I can't remember the original Rambo's name. He's like,
I can't either.
he's like, hey, we could really use a pilot for some of the stuff we run into. And I think he mentioned something about space, or he's like, we're definitely having to spend more time in space now.
Yeah,
So it was set up, and then we get WandaVision, and there's that tremendous scene. Well, I thought it was a really cool scene because it kind of surprised me to start the episode with that, where people are coming back from the snap. That was really cool.
oh yeah, because God damn it, you need to see Spider-Man.
It's not on Disney Plus.
Because you get some of that in the second Spider-Man movie as well, but it's more played for laughs, which a lot of people were like, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff that, you know, there's a lot of darkness here that they're just not touching on at all, which we got that in WandaVision, which was cool.
Yeah, it's surprisingly dark, and it was. When did the series start becoming interesting for you?
Um, episode 3 probably. Was episode 3?
I think
Yeah,
episode 3 was the first time she booted someone out of the universe.
yeah, that's what it was.
The beekeeper. That might have been. Yeah,
No,
that
that was
three.
episode 2.
It was 2.
Yeah, episode 3 was the one where you find out that Monica Rambeau.
Oh yeah,
is-
that's when she kicks out Monica.
Yeah. So that was the point. Like, I mean, it was interesting to me from the beginning, just because I'm like, all right, there's something here. They didn't just make a fucking weird ass sitcom of Wanda and Vision for no reason. And actually, even more so, in the first episode, whenever it reached the end of it, not even the part where the person is watching them, but whenever the credits came on and the fucking like theme started playing and it had like that like dark tone and shit, that was the point where I was like, okay, there's a lot of weird here. This is gonna be interesting.
I knew they wouldn't be making a cheeky sitcom. The thing that took me out of the first episode at the end when they pull back and we see that it's somebody watching them was that a lot
Yeah.
of the technology that they have for their pseudo government tech, it's just music equipment. That it's literally that was literally a MIDI pad with with faders on it.
I didn't even look at it.
I could not look at it. A lot of the stuff that they have in there is just like regular music. It's not government servers, and like of course they have a whole lot of flat screen computers and keyboards and shit. A couple
Yeah.
server looking things, but then all the sci-fi stuff it's MIDI equipment.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, like, there's shit in Star Wars where, it's like there's one thing specifically in one of the Star Wars movies where there's people like running from a certain area, and this dude is carrying this weird looking plastic thing, and it turns out that it was an ice cream maker from the 70s that they brought back in The Mandalorian and turned it into like a fucking safe or something to give it some meaning, but it was literally just an ice cream maker.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, just weird shit. Most people won't notice those things.
Kevin Smith had trouble understanding Darcy's first thing because he's like, why is there a 1970s or 1950s television under that desk? And it was her oscilloscope that she brought. So Kevin Smith, if you're listening, an oscilloscope.
Yeah, he listens to all of these.
Yeah,
He's our biggest fan.
it is something that a scientist like Darcy would use to detect signals and measure things like that. An oscilloscope will not pick up cosmic background radiation. But I think she had different methods for identifying that. And she was just like using it to filter and siphon and identify a wave.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in most cases when it comes to like the science stuff, like the technology or whatever, like obviously you noticed, but this is stuff that from years of watching the Arrowverse shows, I've learned once they start talking science to just stop paying attention because it's all bullshit. I do feel like the MCU gets it a little bit better.
I noticed that watching The Flash. Yeah, the idea that Wanda is commanding cosmic background radiation is it's a really great comic book type of sci-fi because it is the imprint of the Big Bang and the origin of the universe. And if you're a fatalist, you believe there's no free will and everything was decided the moment of the Big Bang happened, and everything that happens as a result is cause and effect. You can't change the outcome. You don't have free will. The idea of your thoughts are neurons firing, and everything that you think or everything that you plan to do is a result of the moment that came before.
Which is true, but it doesn't matter. So.
Yeah, it's not real. Manipulating current cosmic background radiation won't change anything, and it's not a force that does anything. It's just kind of a noisy signal. There's no force. It's not a force of any kind.
Yeah.
But it's sci-fi cool.
Yep.
And I like that. And that's enough for me.
Yeah, I also feel like it has something to do with the fact that her powers came from an Infinity Stone. So, you know, because there is the Reality Stone, but I don't think the Reality Stone ever changed reality as much as Wanda has, so...
I mean, it did turn lasers into bubbles.
Yeah.
And all sorts of stuff.
But all the people that Thanos turned into, like, whenever he fucked up Drax and Mantis and stuff, they immediately just went back when he left.
Yeah, Thanos was much more dangerous with a loaded Infinity Gauntlet than he was snapping the universe.
Yeah.
He was impossible to stop. Because, I mean, you know, you saw when Wanda did take out Vision and he just rewound it. That was a really cool moment.
Crazy.
Because you knew it could happen if you were like thinking about it, but then also it was just like, oh fuck, spent all this time trying to protect Vision.
Like you knew it could happen, but in the moment you're just watching all this shit play out, so you're not thinking about that. You're just like emotionally invested, and then it happens. And you're like, oh yeah, fuck.
Because they played the suspense with perfect timing. That's like, I want to see the Russos' new movie. I think they did a Lupin movie. I want to see what they do outside of material that's carefully picked by the producers and the writers and whatnot, because I used to shit on the Russos on our old podcast because it's like we don't know if they're actually good directors or if they're just good technical action people. Because the first time that they really popped up, that was, I believe they did Civil War and maybe one of the Captain America movies.
They did Captain America Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, yeah. That was the one where the action scenes were blowing away filmmakers because it was in a time where action scenes were like shit, and then they did Winter Soldier, and it was like, oh, I actually know where everybody is. You
can actually see what's happening. What?
And they can put character moments inside of the action, and it's just it's perfect. It's almost like animation, and that became seeing that skill set execute, like they mastered that so hardcore. By the time they got to Endgame, it was like they could do anything in those moments, and it was the suspense was perfect. Like, yeah,
they're such a weird story because like where they started is insane. The first movie they ever did was You, Me, and Dupree.
Classic.
I fucking hated that movie so much.
Wow.
And then I remember seeing it and just being like, wow, this is not what I expected it to be at all, and I kind of hate this fucking movie. That was like back when it came out. And then they did Community, the fucking TV show, and Happy Endings, the fucking TV show. So they worked on a couple sitcoms.
Not really Avengers resumes, but whatever.
Nope. And then they did fucking Captain America, the Winter Soldier.
And they did a great job. And then Taika Waititi did a great job being creative, and Ant-Man was interesting, even though they took Edgar Wright off of it mistakenly, and I'll never forgive them for that. But see, episode 3 is when we start to see all the cool outside of the bubble stuff.
Yeah, and we start to see, oh, this is Wanda.
Yeah.
Wanda is the one doing this.
How big of a chance do you think that there is that Wanda's not doing it? Because there definitely seems to be an origin point that she's not in control of.
There are theories out there. So many people putting out theory videos that I'm not watching because I'm like, I hate it whenever people come up with a theory that just fits so well and is way cooler than what the thing actually is, so I've been avoiding them. But there's been a lot of talk about, number one, Wanda is supposed to be in Doctor Strange 2. And Doctor Strange 2 is said to be a horror thing.
With possibly Mephisto.
Yes, so that's the people thinking Mephisto or Nightmare, which are classic Doctor Strange villains, which could be connected to this. So there's always that possibility that there is something there, but I do feel like a lot of it has to do with her. I don't think like these are fully her powers, but I feel like she's the one making this shit happen with some help from possibly Mephisto, because in the comics he's the Marvel's version of the devil, basically, which other people have made deals with. Peter Parker made a deal with Mephisto at one point to save Aunt May, and in return, he ended up getting rid of his child as well as Mary Jane. Not like killed either of them. Their child was just never born, and Mary Jane and him just weren't together anymore. So there's stuff there that could be a thing. Which also tied to another comic book story, The House of M, having to do with Wanda getting rid of all mutants. There are theories talking about her bringing in the X-Men from the Fox universe, like combining that shit.
I don't buy that one.
I don't necessarily either, but the fact that we have X-Men Pietro show up.
I do believe this is the vehicle for the X-Men.
Yes.
But yeah, the whole like, because of course I watch too much Kevin Smith when he's on, and I'm probably gonna watch his live stream about episode 6 when we're done here. But yeah, the whole like, she had that killer quote at the end, "No more mutants," and it wouldn't make any sense for her to say "Let there be mutants" because she's not a mutant.
Well, yeah, I don't think it would be like specifically that. Like, I don't think it would be that blatant. I just think it would be, because in most instances, like with the MCU, they don't go super like, this is exactly what happened in the comics. They do pull a lot of homages to certain things and or twist them in a way that people that know the comics will be like, oh, that's clever. So I feel like it's connected that way. It would just make sense that she would be the one to bring the X-Men into the MCU, whether just through her show or through, literally, if that was the case.
Yeah, she's the only person who can really affect reality that way.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking at the beginning that like if this is X-Men, she could be having a psychic fight with Charles Xavier and not really be knowing it, and there's a reason for them to be interfering with that.
Yeah.
But
that could be something.
Yeah, it's not a strong theory, but I'm also of that mind. I don't really like to theorize too much. I like to see things that I recognize and then kind of wait, and then if I have a thought, I'll enjoy it for a bit, but I don't investigate it too hard.
Yeah, I used to watch a lot of those things because I'm like, wanted to hear what people's thoughts were. Like, Matt Pat had a couple really cool theories about like the fucking Knights of Ren from Star Wars being like the characters from Rogue One and everything, and it would have been like it all fit so perfectly the way that he explained it, and then it just didn't happen, and then even worse, the Star Wars sequel trilogy just went to shit, and the Knights of Ren were literally nothing at all.
That sucks ass.
Yeah. And, there's been multiple other people that come up with these great theories that make way more sense, and then whatever it is, the movie, the TV show, whatever, just, like, shits the bed super hard in the end, and it's like, well, now I'm even more disappointed in this movie. Yeah, so I'm avoiding those.
The Westworld subreddit became kind of famous for that, where they had pieced together so much stuff and made so many concrete theories that if you were to, like, go like from the end of season 2, just give it to the Redditors, it would have been a great series, and then now nobody knows what the fuck is going on with Westworld, and they don't care.
I just started Westworld again. I saw the first season when it first came out, and I dug it, and then, they had a really long time between seasons because they were switching it off with Game of Thrones for some reason. I guess they wanted to keep people on HBO, so they were just doing the top tier shows back and forth.
So what do you think of these? We haven't seen Deborah Jo Rupp since the first episode, so I guess she's not important. But she was saying things that made me feel like she had agency in the first episode.
I thought she was just in. I thought she was just in the one of the newer episodes. No, I think she was in the second episode because I just forced my mom to start watching the show, and I just saw the first and second episode again.
I know I haven't seen her or Vision's boss recently. Everyone keeps talking about this Agnes character, and I just feel like that's because she was in the trailers.
Yeah, I don't think it's her anymore just because of what happened in the last episode with Vision, where she was, like, lost or whatever, where she broke down when he was talking to her.
Yeah, you think she actually got lost, or she was... Well, if she entered the NPC zone, then apparently nobody's controlling them.
I think she's just a person.
Yeah, her and the guy who was chainsawing the concrete, they seemed to have weird agency for a moment, but then some of the weird things they were doing also kind of fits into the whole if Wanda's not paying attention to them, they're not real.
Yeah, like the dude sawing through the thing.
Yeah.
But there is an interesting thing that I noticed, whenever I rewatched those first couple episodes. The heart on the calendar thing in the first episode, like the fact that they're like, why do you need to abbreviate? You can move at the speed of sound. I can make a pen float with my hand or whatever, or with my mind. And I think there's a reason for that. I feel like Vision has noticed this stuff before, and that's why he abbreviated it so Wanda wouldn't know. So he would think that so he would take it as a warning.
Oh, wow. That's a good theory.
Yeah, I think he's warning himself about Wanda. But I'm not sure, because I don't know, because they haven't been stuck in this for very long, but he's breaking out of it again, and she's trying to control him, and it's not working.
Yeah, seeing his vibranium rip apart when he tried to exit the Hex... Yeah. And him not being dead instantly.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. I thought he was going to pass through and he was just going to drop like a fucking corpse.
Yeah, or be a walking zombie. But pieces of his face were tearing away. He maintained his color outside of the Hex. I don't know how much influence the Hex could have been having on him. But it seemed like he might be alive.
Yeah. But then we also have the thing where Wanda was talking about, whenever their dog died, about how you can't bring people back to life no matter how much you want to or whatever. Like, she seemed really serious. Well, it seemed like she was really serious about it, and it made me question, like, all right, so is Vision not alive? Like, I don't actually expect him to be alive, but this thing where he passed through the thing makes me think he is more alive, I guess. I don't know. There's a lot of questions with this show.
They do classify it as a mystery.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then the whole thing with Pietro also zombieing out was interesting.
And having a lot of agency, being fully aware of the situation.
Yeah, because of his character, quote unquote. It made me wonder if maybe he was somebody in disguise, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, Inverse had an article saying that Pietro's the main villain and he's in disguise. Um,
I hope that's not true though.
yeah, and I almost wanted to go back to Age of Ultron to see if the bullet balls actually matched up.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, how close? Because if you're a production team, you definitely go look at that. But I don't know
Yeah.
if it is accurate or if it was because the only
If
person
it
who's
was meant to be or not.
yeah, because Vision blinked up dead, vaguely out of her control for a bit, which was also a cool scene. Because at first he
Yeah.
appeared in the background kind of gray, and I was like, oh, missed a spot on the color grade. And then, and then just turned around, and I was like, nope.
Yeah, that was the moment where I'm like, oh, okay, this could have some actual like horror elements, and I'm just loving it.
Yeah, and now we had dead Quicksilver from the wrong universe.
Yeah, it was when they were talking about Quicksilver, like why did she recast Pietro, and then something was said that made me. I don't remember what it was specifically, but it feels like they're saying things that are like, this is important to listen to and not just a character questioning, which they've done that a few times. Because she wouldn't have, so obviously they're leaning more away from the fact that it's just her doing it.
Yeah, I don't know what it means though.
Which was another thing that I thought was interesting, is that they brought up what's her code name, and she's not used one in the MCU, which was kind of interesting.
Yeah,
So if she does become a villain and takes on the moniker Scarlet Witch, that could be the thing.
was Scarlet Witch ever a villain?
Yes. She's been on all sides. She's been an X-Men, she's been in the League of Evil Mutants or whatever, she's been a huge Avengers villain, she's been on the Avengers, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, I know she's been. She wasn't in the cartoon much, but she was kind of neutral then. Of course,
She was in X-Men Evolution, I believe.
Yeah, and I think that was the cartoon instance where we learned that she's. Well, I think we learned she's Magneto's daughter in the original cartoon too. But that's not permanent canon. I mean, it's retconned canon, but I guess originally her character was not Magneto's kid, and now that's kind of canon.
Yeah, because originally it was something along the lines of her and Pietro were manipulated into thinking that they were Magneto's kid by Magneto, but it ended up not being true, and then I guess they changed that to be canon at some point. I don't know.
Some comic book writer ran with it and did a great job, and people liked it.
Yep.
Yeah, the first time we saw the back of Pietro's head in this, I was like, it's gray hair. Just give us Magneto already. God damn it.
Where's Magneto?
Let's just do it. And he's not that gray haired in episode 6. He's like feather haired blonde.
And the fucking Malcolm in the Middle homage
I was about to bring that up. That's an interesting choice and a weird song.
So we're in the 2000s now, I guess.
Gotta be. And Malcolm in the Middle is a great show.
That it is.
And they did not do a great job emulating They Might Be Giants, but that's okay.
There was, like, I noticed a lot of things throughout a lot of these intros that they do, because they're not just the one. It's a crossover of a bunch of different sitcoms. Like, they leaned on the Malcolm in the Middle thing, but there was a lot of like musical cues and stuff that reminded me of other shit, like Boy Meets World, weirdly, and like a couple other things.
I missed all of them.
Well, it's just a thing, and they did that with a lot of them.
Yeah, I noticed the other intros were all over the place with different stuff, but I managed to pick those up. I was looking for them this one, I just didn't recognize any.
Yeah, the musical, like, a lot of the cues, they're like throughout the episode versus like just the intro.
Oh, no. If those have been happening throughout the series, I definitely missed them.
Oh, okay.
I would have just thought, oh, that's sitcom stuff.
Yeah, it's sitcom stuff, but it is very like homage to certain things. I wonder what they're doing next. Probably like Modern Family or some shit.
When I get to rewatch it, I'll be looking for those. Modern Family, I mean, Is that a good show? Yes.
I mean,
it is.
that's probably. I mean, I couldn't get into it, but it's probably the most. For the 2010s, it's probably the most iconic sitcom.
Modern Family was interesting because it didn't deserve to succeed, but then the actors kind of pulled that shit out of the trash can and made it work. Big Bang Theory was 2008 and has scientists and there's sci-fi and WandaVision.
that would be a really interesting switch up because I think they're leaning more towards like family oriented.
Yeah, and most of them were kind of in New England or could be.
Otherwise, you probably would have gotten things like Friends would have been a big one in the 90s.
Yeah.
Early 2000s. But they went with Malcolm in the Middle because it's a family sitcom.
That's true. So, WandaVision, good.
Yes, good.
It's I want to know its rewatch value because I haven't rewatched it yet. Do you have so far? You're at least 3 episodes into your rewatch.
Yeah, I've seen the first. I mean, I'm not planning on necessarily continuing the rewatch, but I'll probably rewatch it again after I've seen it all, just because of the fact that just seeing those first few episodes, like noticing stuff like it's really interesting to see the puzzle coming together in other ways, because like you're sitting here seeing stuff happen, and then you go back and see the first few episodes, and you're like, wait, that could be connected to that, and like that's interesting. Like to see it all. It's all coming together.
Yeah, I wonder how Darcy's gonna turn up handcuffed at the. But she basically in the NPC.
I was
zone.
like, oh, is she gonna be a transformer now? She's gonna be like part metal somehow because of whenever Monica's went in and her clothes turned into those fucking clothes. Whenever it was like a bulletproof
Oh
vest.
yeah, I forgot about that.
So Darcy's wearing a car right now.
That could be bad.
Yeah. And I'm like, why did everything turn into a fucking circus? Like, what is this?
Either they delete the handcuffs and let her not be a transformer, or they are entering the 2000s and mid 2000s. Could be a robot.
Yeah, but that's the other thing. It's kind of like a question of, is this going to create another superhero or whatever? Because that's the thing. I don't remember who Monica Rambeau is in the comics. I believe she has powers of some kind, and I'm wondering if this is what's going to, because they talked about her cells changing or whatever.
Yeah.
I wonder if she's going to end up with powers, which would be based off of the Mind Stone, because that's where Wanda gets her powers, if it's all coming from her.
No, it's been pointed out that she made reference to knowing an astro engineer who would like to take a look at some of the things going on, and
that was the other thing.
Yeah, that could be Reed Richards.
That would be nuts if they just introduced everything through WandaVision. Here's your X-Men, here's your Fantastic Four.
Yeah, Fantastic Four is the big people who went to space. Sword is a good vehicle for, they do space missions. It's a good vehicle for Fantastic Four, and I don't think I've seen anyone say it. I mean, like, the Phoenix Force is a cosmic force that's similar to what gave the Fantastic Four their powers.
Yeah. I definitely don't think that they're going to mess with the Phoenix Force anytime soon, though. Because Dark Phoenix just happened and everybody hated it.
That's true. It was because it was bad.
Yep. And then X-Men 3 as well was also the Dark Phoenix that most people hated.
I don't remember hating it, but I'll probably watch it again.
I also don't remember hating it, and then I watched it, and I'm like, it's not good, but I still don't hate it.
Well, there's Phoenix before there's Dark Phoenix.
Yep, and that's the thing that everybody forgets. Or all the movie studios forget, I guess. Fox forgets.
I want to go straight towards Evil Jean Grey.
Yep, out of nowhere, for no reason at all. What a twist.
Yeah, or maybe this time Scarlet Witch is the Phoenix, which would not be, satisfying at all.
Yeah, that would be out of nowhere. And
yeah.
Most people, what?
Yeah, if you could just fuck the Phoenix timeline one more time.
Yes, just destroy it completely. People love it in the comics, but let's just destroy it. But yeah, I'm excited to see how this is going to play out and how it's going to connect to Doctor Strange 2.
I think there's definitely going to be some. Well, there's no proof that there's going to be another X-Men. there's more proof that something from space is coming. Like that's been not in the universe. Although there's not much reason for WandaVision to cause cosmic rays on a space mission that makes the Fantastic Four. And I don't see any Fantastic Four powers being relevant to Wanda's current issues. I mean, I think Doctor Doom actually has magical powers outside of what he got from the blast.
Yeah, because his mother is a witch.
Yeah, so it's. I mean, I haven't heard anybody mention Doctor Doom being a possible candidate in this.
That would be so cool.
Yeah,
He really is like one of the best Marvel villains that they just cannot do right in the movies.
it's vaguely possible he's in it if they're talking about the Fantastic Four at all.
Yeah.
But the Sword, I don't remember hearing anything about Sword in the Fantastic Four things.
Actually, come to think of it at this point, it's probably the fucking Skrulls. It's probably like Talos from Captain Marvel.
Yeah, they're canon in the universe, and
Yeah, and once again, they pop up in other things.
are the Skrull actual villains? Because they weren't villains in Captain Marvel.
No, the Skrulls, like in Captain Marvel and everything, wasn't Talos like a fucking scientist or whatever? I'm pretty
don't remember.
He was the Skrull man from Australia. The Skrull man with the Australian accent.
Was his name Talos?
Yeah.
He was something.
Yeah, so it might be him, because, like, my original thought was maybe it's Carol Danvers, but at the same time, number one, that's not her job, and number two, Monica didn't seem happy whenever she was brought up in any way. So,
Yeah, I wonder if that's her friend that's coming over the hill to pick her up, get her in there.
Yeah.
Captain Marvel comes right in.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it definitely could be the Skrulls, though.
I hadn't thought about that.
Because there is, once again, not a spoiler, but there is a connection to Sword that you can, in the post-credit of, the disconnected post-credits of Spider-Man 2. I just did not think that was going to set up so much for this fucking show.
Fantastic Four is set, like, those fools live in New York, so their commute distance from Wanda.
It's true. It's New Jersey. It's not very far. And we know there's a Fantastic Four movie coming.
I didn't know that. Well, yeah, I mean, they really could be setting up anything, or they could
it would be cool if they just did the fucking origin here, kind of off screen, because people fucking know what the deal is, and then whenever the Fantastic Four movie comes out, they can just jump right in.
Yeah, one thing that I'm not sure of because of when the snapback happens in this series is if Scarlet Witch has actually fought Thanos yet at this point. Because Monica Rambeau seems to pretty quickly come out of the snap and then go straight to work and then report to New Jersey. And Vision is dead, but that happens before Endgame. So I haven't actually seen a reason to believe that this happens after Endgame.
Well, the snap reverses in Endgame.
That's true. Towards the end of it, I guess.
Yeah. So that would have been that exact point as Thanos was shooting the fucking place.
She would be in the middle of it. And so, yeah. I mean, I guess all this is so far only taken place over a day. But I guess it would be kind of weird for Wanda to break out of whatever she's doing and then go fuck up Thanos. But when she arrived to fuck up Thanos, she was pretty distraught.
Yeah, you took everything from me, she says. And he says, I don't even know who you are.
Yeah. Who this bitch?
Who the fuck are you?
Snap again.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wonder if we'll see that. Because it was interesting to see, like, the previously on WandaVision thing or whatever, like, near the beginning where it showed, like, the scene from Age of Ultron where fucking Pietro gets murked.
Yeah, it would be a really short time span for her between WandaVision and the fight for Thanos, because that was only like probably 2 actual time hours in that movie.
Yeah, and whenever she stepped out of the Hex and she was wearing her like red coat and all that shit, her fucking costume that she was wearing in Endgame, which is not always the thing she's wearing. So it could have gone like straight from there to stealing Vision's body, because she got snapped.
Yeah, she did. Yeah,
So,
okay.
yeah. So she came
How
back.
is
She came back. She fucking fought Thanos, and she went and stole Vision's body.
And she got smacked by Thanos because he ripped out the Power Stone and punched her.
Yeah.
She almost killed him, though.
So this could be like seriously like a day after it happened.
Yeah, it could be so fast. Who knows? Because I don't think we ever see her. Well, she was at Tony Stark's funeral, right?
Probably. Maybe.
Yeah, she was there. I remember her. I just watched Endgame like a week ago. Yeah, she was there. All right, so this probably doesn't take place between the death of Iron Man and his funeral.
Yeah, probably not.
Okay. I mean, that'd be weird too. Nah, I'm probably gonna call this after his funeral.
Yeah. And then there's also the thought of that the lead investigator guy, like Haywood, whatever the fuck his name is, about him potentially being the actual villain of the show.
He is acting like a loser.
Yeah, because there's all that shit that Darcy was finding about him actually tracking Vision and everything. It's like, is this like an actual setup? Are they like trying to make Wanda do something here? Is this guy just some asshole, or is he, maybe Mephisto or something? But whenever he was running away from the fucking Hex thing, I don't know, he looked really afraid, but at the same time, like, maybe he actually was, even if he is, like, a fucking big villain or something. It seems like not likely, but he's up to something.
There were some interesting call-outs, like callbacks, like Wanda stepping out of the Hex and then pointing all the guns at him the same way Magneto pointed all the guns at Xavier.
Oh, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, and I don't know, Darcy stayed behind to hack one more thing. I don't think we got that payoff. I don't think we got to see what it was.
We did not. And I think, depending on what happened to her, because I feel like there's going to be some kind of obstacle there. Something happened to her whenever everything changed, and it's going to hold us on the edge of what she was looking for until the end of this next episode, or beyond.
Yeah, it's going to be a premiere file where he faked all the Wanda stealing Vision's body footage.
Yeah, he used After Effects.
Yeah, well, for that, for sure.
Yeah.
probably did some heavier stuff. Yeah, so I don't have any clue where this series is going, but it's got a lot of stuff to think about, and that's fun.